Welcome to the Intentional Awakening podcast with your hosts, Kathy Gruver and Terrie Huberman.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Intentional Awakening podcast. I am your host, Dr. Kathy Gruver.
Hey there, guys. I'm Terrie Huberman, and we're very excited for this episode.
It's our first episode. So welcome. This was years in the making. Well,
seems like years.
It seems like we talked about it for a little bit.
Millennia and dimensions, it's been in the works.
It has been. So we thought that this first episode, we could tell you who we are, why we're here, what we're going to be covering. Terrie, why don't you tell everybody how we met?
Well, I think we met, if I remember correctly, we met when I gave you a reading. Was that the first time we met? At the
We met at the Magic Castle.
Right.
Yep. It was New Year's Eve.
That was it. Okay. I'm like, I know there was a reading that happened.
That's all. And my friend Tina and I sat down and got a reading, and I took your card, and we've kept in touch.
Yeah.
And I have a very sensitive BS meter. And your reading was so spot on. And every reading I've had from you since has been so spot on. And so we just became friends.
Yeah. I mean, how could we not?
How could we not? So how I got to here. So I was an actress in LA for years. I was raised to be a good Catholic girl and bucked that pretty quick. So when my mother discovered the Ouija board and the tarot cards and the incense under the bed in a cigar box, because that's secure, she was incredibly disturbed that I was into all of this sort of stuff. I think I shot out of the womb questioning all of this stuff. So I went from Catholicism to Wicca because that's the natural progression, right? So I went from father everything to mother everything. And now I've sort of swung back to the center, and I recognize that my mother's devotion to Catholicism was actually the cult of Mary. My mother was obsessed with Mary. The room was filled with Mary statues. She passed away when I was 18, and she spent the majority of her illness, and I'm sure most of her life, basically worshiping Mary. And in Pittsburgh in the, when she was born in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, until she passed away, there was no way to worship Mary other than being Catholic.
Wow.
So I grew to recognize that was sort of what was happening, and that her and my grandmother and pretty much everyone around me was almost sort of indoctrinating me into this occultish kind of thing that I didn't even realize was happening until a couple of years ago. So where I sit now, I'm in the process of awakening, as I know you are, which is why we called it this. We're talking about that. Right now I'm sitting in the goo. sitting in the goo, waiting for the goo to stop. So the caterpillar is now in the goo, and I'm in the goo. And yeah, it's been an incredible spiritual journey, which will unfold as we talk more. But I'm also, you do it differently than me, but I'm also incredibly psychic and intuitive, and I do readings as well. Very different than you do. You are absolutely mind-blowing. But so how did you get to here?
Yeah, I think I was born to here. That sounds weird, but I had weird experiences my entire life. I come from a Jewish family. My mom is actually Cuban. So when she was raised, she knew all about and learned all about the Santeria and all of that. So she already had like the occultism in her blood. And then also being Jewish, we had like a lot of Kabbalistic stuff just already kind of ingrained in us. So growing up, my mom, my sister, and my mom's mom, so my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, we all had these like really weird experiences over and over and over again, and just this open-heartedness and open-mindedness. I remember when I was in the 5th grade, I was with a girlfriend in the bathroom, and we would try and use telekinesis to like try and make our earrings dangle in the mirror, of course, playing in summer camp. What was that? Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Oh, yes. Yep.
All of that stuff. So I just kind of grew up with all all that stuff. But I used to get, when I was younger, premonitions that would come true. And it's interesting because growing up and in our family was very open. So I didn't have I had the total opposite experience than you did. Like in our family, it was like, yeah, let's do it. So we always went to psychics and got readings and all of that. So I'm blessed in that way that I never had to hide my
Hmm.
abilities and talents and gifts. But it wasn't, believe it or not, it wasn't until I turned 40, I think, is when everything started to like amplify. It is a little bit on the crazy side. So I used to play with tarot cards. Did you play with tarot cards like growing up and all that?
So
So
let me ask you a question though. So this
yeah.
amplification at 40, did you do something to make that happen, or did it just spontaneously erupt?
So it spontaneously erupted in mediumship, but there was a trajectory. Like when I look back,
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, there was a trajectory. So like when I was in my early 20s, I would just give readings doing tarot cards and people were like, "Man, you're spot on." And I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." But I never really charged people. I never made any money from it or anything like that. And then I think it was like 2012, 2013 is when I was introduced to Lisa Williams. I'm not sure if you are aware of her, but
Mm.
I think, who was it? I don't remember who it was, but some big guy in the entertainment industry discovered her and put her on TV, and she was doing like Lifetime, or I can't remember, but she was doing media.
Oh
She's a
yeah.
British medium. So she would do these weekly kind of like mediumship group readings kind of. I I had lost my job around 2010, 2011. I was let go from my job and then I had all this time, so I became a paranormal investigator. So I was a
I did
ghost.
that.
You did
Yes,
that
I
too?
did that too. It did it
Yeah.
informally, but I was running at like 90% accuracy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
should go do investigations. All right.
Oh
If
my
you've
God.
got a ghost in your house, call us and we'll
Yeah,
come check
call
it
us.
out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got involved in a group. We had equipment and all that. And so I was the only one
Wow.
that's sensitive because I was the psychic. And we would just go and investigate all these places. And I had an experience, the first real big mediumistic experience that changed everything. That was it. And
Mm.
I basically was taken over, if you want to call it, but it wasn't like a takeover, like I had no control. I was very aware of Terrie and I was aware that this was happening. So it wasn't like a mental breakdown or anything. And I was like, I just kept checking in with myself. Are you safe? Are you safe? Are you safe? Yeah. And so I just let this experience happen and it was exhausting. And I'm like, I got to do something about this. I have to get formal training. That was around the
Mm.
time I was 40. So I was like, I got to get some formal training on this because I think this is going to happen again. And I don't want to not be in control. And if I'm supposed
Right.
to do this work, God, so that I can help other people, teach me how to properly do this.
Well, and to that point, I've had several psychedelic experience where I have been merged with Mother Mary,
Uh-huh.
and I do healing work and I help, I sit in the veil between life and death. And one of my mentors said, you're allowed to ask for amplification of this work, and you're also allowed to ask for tools and help to make sure you're not overwhelmed. And
Correct.
I mean, I do Reiki, and that helped stop some of the me taking on everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
But I had not, she said, if you want to take on all this stuff, you've also got to ask for, you have to protect me, you have to give me safety. And I was like, absolutely. So, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to know that that's okay to do, and that's also where you realize that you have control over this. You're not just like spirit's bitch.
Yep.
Because a lot of people, they just get so scared and they're like, okay, I have to give up, I surrender. And that's actually a mental, that's a whole other thing. But I personally, I'm not saying that they don't exist when I say this, but I personally don't believe that psychic attacks and possessions are as common or run
Mm,
amok as much as people say. But that could be a whole other episode that
yeah, we have to talk about that.
a mental and emotional state of mind. And I know this because I've done channeling and I have been taken over and all of that stuff. But yeah, so Lisa Williams, just to go back, she was teaching. And so I took a certification. So I call it basically psychic and mediumship boot camp.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very rigorous training. And then we had to get like authenticated. So there were certifications we had to read for the public. We had to do this whole thing. It's like I had to get validated to make sure I was ethical and all the things.
Yeah.
It's like the
Wow.
beginning of this journey. I was tested and everything. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go to people who go to psychics or healers, they're really vulnerable.
Hmm.
So you could easily take advantage of them. And there are plenty of shills out there. You and I both know there are frauds and all that. So
Hmm.
I highly recommend you go to somebody who's been certified, trained, and all that.
Wow.
So, but then from there, part of my awakening went into healing. So it's one thing to be a psychic and a medium, and then it's another thing to go into healing, where now you're dealing, with more holistically with a
Yeah.
human.
Well, and that's the route I took, right? I mean, I put my hands on people for the first time when I would sit behind my dad on long car trips and rub his neck so he didn't get headaches when he drove.
Yeah.
And I accidentally studied massage in college. I was a theater major. I was going to go to California and be a star. And I'm here in California,
Yeah.
not a star, but the
Oh,
healing part stuck. And so, I do the massage and the Reiki and the hypnosis and the psychedelic coaching and the life coaching. And, I've helped birth babies and I've helped people cross over. And the second I put my hands on people, I would sit and play practice and
yeah.
I'd be sitting there and all of a sudden go, okay, who has the headache? And I'd see someone in the corner go, I do. And I could feel it. And I'd get over here and I'd put my hands on them. And then I would get their headache and they'd be like, well, I feel great. And I'm like, okay. So
Yeah.
I had to learn. See, I didn't, I'm so envious of the formal training you had. I was a lifetime seeker, but had no one to ask these questions. And I didn't realize that not everybody could do this
Yeah.
until one day I was, I think, in the mall with a girlfriend, and I'm like, oh God, it's just so loud in here today. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you don't feel all of this stuff? And she's like, dude, are you I don't know what you're saying to me right now. And I went, oh. And of
Yeah.
course, I've had so many times in my life where I've shut the door to all this because it can be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't watch the news, especially now. I don't read what's happening. I don't want to be ignorant and put my head in the sand, but I understand with my sensitivity, I can't. It's
Yeah.
too much for me.
Yeah.
There are times I've taken people's pain on purpose where I have chosen to, I know I'm going to feel like shit for the next 3 days, but I need to, because my hands are burning, but I need to do this for this person. Um, I have helped animals cross over. I can feel their spirit move through me. I had a cat plop down on my lap and I had started to feel like I was in labor, and I look down and the cat starts to give birth on my lap. And I was just like, oh my
Oh
God.
my
Everyone in the room is like, what are you doing? So it sounds like you and I have had a lot of very similar experiences, which does not at all surprise me.
course.
And as we go along with this podcast, we're going to
Yeah.
unfold more background about us. But
Yeah.
so why don't we tell the folks at home? Because I know there's thousands of you watching right now. Tell the folks, so what are we going to cover in this? I know there'll be times where we pull some cards, we might do some readings. We're going to talk about like what kind of stuff we're going to cover.
Well, okay, so I think you and I are pretty much on the same page with this, where there's a lot that's going on in the world, and you and I both have an awareness of our physical and non-physical self, right? And I think a lot of people are, if you want to call it, coming online to their non-physical self.
Mm-hmm.
And because you and I have experience and are also continuing to be truth seekers, so we're constantly learning. I
Mm-hmm.
with both of our experience, knowledge, wisdom, and just personality and maybe point of view in life, we can actually help people navigate this human experience to the best of their ability, maybe integrating both the physical and the non-physical self, right? So
Yep.
to make it easier, maybe a lot more simpler, we just really want to help people like with their sensitivities, because it's probably going like on a
Mm-hmm.
woo meter, their woo
On the
meter is
room meter.
probably going like this, ding, 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 and they may not know what to do.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
and I'm finding that with the people on TikTok. Like I'm sharing what I'm going through with this phase of my awakening. And, as a triple Capricorn, I'm a to-do list gal. I am a to-do list, go, go, go. I mean, my license plate is go for it. Just I was always such a driven person. And now to-do list, I could give a shit. Somebody the other day, I was talking to them and I'm realizing, oh, I could probably open up more client slots. I could probably make more money. And then I thought, why?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do with it? Whereas before, especially as a Capricorn, we're very money focused. It was, I got to put away for retirement. I got to put money in saving. And now I'm realizing,
Yeah,
yeah,
but you're probably at a point where you can do that too.
yeah,
So, just to
right.
balance that out, which is great.
Sure. But there's so many people that had questions of, oh my God, I'm experiencing the same thing.
Yes.
And as soon as I hear I'm experiencing the same thing, whether it's sciatica that I've gone through or some physical thing that a massage client shows up and I realize, oh my God, I had that happen to me. I can help you with that.
Yeah.
I think so much of our experiences we go through to help other people navigate that in the future. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah. I feel the
So,
same thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Same.
So we're excited to be here. We hope you keep tuning in. We're going to have incredible guests as we get going. This is just our first episode. We have so much to share. So, how can people reach you, Terrie, if they want to get a hold of you?
Sure. Best place, easiest place, two places. I'll say social media if you want to catch me on Instagram, intuitive terriehuberman.com. I mean, well, the handle is intuitive Terrie Huberman, but my website is terriehuberman.com.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
And what
And I'm
about
at
you?
I'm at kathygruver.coach for coaching and kathygruver.com for speaking and videos and TEDx talks and all that good stuff. So we will catch you next time. Thank you for
Yes.
watching. I'm Kathy Gruver,
I'm Terrie Huberman.
and we'll catch you next time.